Hey everyone. Today we're diving deep into the world of emergency funds. I'm going to share my personal journey with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and successes. If you're new to my channel, my name's Corey, and I'm here to share my financial journey in hopes that you can find value in the lessons I've learned and you can avoid the mistakes that I've made. Before we dive into my story, let's define what an emergency fund actually is. An emergency fund is a vital financial tool designed to provide a safety net during unexpected financial challenges. It's essentially a reserve of cash that you can tap into when life throws you curveballs, whether it's a medical emergency, car repairs, or a job loss. Now, financial experts typically recommend saving enough to cover 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. This amount can vary based on individual circumstances such as income stability and lifestyle choices. For some, especially those in dual income households, aiming for a larger cushion up to 8 months may be prudent. Having an emergency fund can significantly reduce financial stress. According to recent surveys, many Americans feel anxious about their ability to cover unexpected expenses. Without an emergency fund, people often resort to high interest credit cards or loans, which can lead to a cycle of debt. An emergency fund should only be tapped for general emergencies, unexpected medical bills, major home repairs, or loss of income. It's crucial to differentiate between what constitutes an emergency and what doesn't. For example, a last-minute vacation is not an emergency. Now let me take you through my personal emergency fund roller coaster. It all started when I proudly established a $25,000 emergency fund after getting out of debt. I felt invincible, thinking my finances were all figured out. But then after a few years of not needing it, I reduced my funds down to 10,000 after a move, thinking I didn't need so much in reserve. Then the first crack in my financial fortress came when I used a chunk of my fund for a car down payment. I justified it thinking I haven't had an emergency in years and I can quickly replenish it by driving for Uber. That was just wrong thinking. I did try to rebuild the fund, but life had other plans. A car accident left me without a vehicle for 8 months while still making payments. Then, two hot water heaters and a refrigerator decided to call it quits within weeks of each other. My emergency fund was taking hit after hit, and still I didn't learn. I used the last of my fund for another car down payment, convincing myself that surely nothing else could go wrong. But it did. Another car accident, followed by the well pump failure that required $4,500 in cash, money I no longer had. That's when reality hit hard. I had to turn to credit cards to cover basic expenses, feeling utterly defeated. The turning point? It was my arrogance in thinking I could outsmart my finances. I broke the cardinal rule of emergency funds. Never use them for non-emergencies. This experience had completely changed my perspective. I now understand that an emergency fund is truly that. It's not there for convenience or planned expenses, no matter how tempting. Today, I'm rebuilding from scratch. I'm getting my basic emergency fund back while paying off the debt. Once that's done, I'll continuously fund my emergency savings. I've learned to always have a plan for refilling the fund and to resist the urge to tap into it for anything but true emergencies. Remember, when it comes to emergency funds, stick to the rules. They're simple for a reason, because they work. Don't make my mistake of thinking you're smarter than tried and true financial wisdom. Now, your future self will thank you for it. Let's talk about maintaining your emergency fund once you've built it up. This is crucial for long-term financial stability. First of all, where to keep your emergency fund. I recommend keeping your fund in a high-yield savings account or a money market account. These options offer a balance of easy access and potential for growth. Avoid investment accounts with complicated strategies, especially if you're newer to investing. The goal here is to preserve your money and gain some footing against inflation without taking on unnecessary risk. Then how to fill your fund. The amount you save each month depends on your income, budget, and lifestyle. Personally, I set aside a minimum of 5% of my expenses into my emergency fund every month. I've found an effective strategy is to just add an extra 5% to each expense line in my budget, except for my mortgage. This covers unexpected fluctuations. Additionally, I round up all of my transactions and direct that money to the emergency fund. Now, finally, how to maintain your fund. Constant deposits are key. Even after reaching your target amount, continue with your savings strategy. I recommend reviewing and adjusting your emergency fund annually, but also look at 3 to 5 year projections. Consider the likelihood of needing the fund based on these timeframes. For specific expenses, create separate funds for irregular but known costs like home repairs or vehicle replacement. This helps keep your main emergency fund intact for true emergencies. Now, if you do use your emergency fund, have a plan to replenish it quickly. I've learned to continually fund it and plan for the long term, not just the immediate future. To resist temptation, remember past mistakes and the consequences of depleting your fund. Use tools like spreadsheets to track your progress and adjust your strategy as life circumstances change. An emergency fund is not just about having money saved. It's about peace of mind and financial security. By establishing and maintaining this safety net, you can navigate life's uncertainties with confidence and avoid the pitfalls of debt. Remember, an emergency fund is a critical component of your financial health. By maintaining it properly, you're ensuring a safety net that can weather any financial storm. Stay disciplined, plan ahead, and your future self will thank you for it. If you'd like to learn more about designing the perfect emergency fund for you, check out this video. Thanks for watching.